gentlemen, I'm Robert Kinzel with Nomium, and we are having another business casual webinar. Today we are joined by Ray Horan of Emotics, and I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Who are you, what do you do, and what does your company do?
So I'm Ray, CEO of Emotics. We're a Hong Kong-based regulation technology company, RegTech for short. And what we do is we utilize a bunch of technologies, most specifically facial microexpression analysis. So we use webcams and computer vision so we can tell people's emotional responses to online content. The primary use case we have for this is around compliance training in heavily regulated industries. So financial services is the main industry we're focused on because we're here in Hong Kong and there's such a large financial services presence. We also have some other use cases around alternative data for hedge funds and asset managers, that kind of thing.
Awesome. You mentioned micro expressions. Can you let us know, just in a couple sentences, what are those?
Yeah, so that is how your face moves. So things like your chin, your lips, your eyebrows, a multitude of different points on the face. So the technology we use analyzes 34 different coordinates on the face and how those move. And using like deep learning technology from there, you can tell people's emotional states. So surprise, joy, sadness, anger, 7 core emotions from there. And then we can also tell people's attentiveness and their engagement with content. So that's very valuable information to have.
Excellent. So the rest of this interview, I'm going to be completely worried about like what my face looks like, how you're analyzing.
You'll be fine.
You're not the technology, so I don't have to worry about you. So
exactly, yeah, but we could analyze this after.
All right, thank you for that. Let's get in a little deeper into your company and also just the industry and the technology that you're working with. For the people who are watching who have never seen this or heard of it, can you give us kind of the layperson's overview or maybe walk us through if we were using your services or your technology, like what would happen?
Sure, yeah. So around compliance training and online compliance training, there's some major problems there that we're trying to tackle. So we've seen over the last kind of 5 to 10 years, certainly, a lot of compliance training has gone from classroom-based to more online training. But this is to reduce costs, but it's leading to lots of problems with lack of engagement. So the issue here is that people typically hate having to do this compliance training. A lot of it's really tedious and boring. So they put it off to the last minute, and then when it comes time to do it, they just try to game the system as much as possible rather than actually engaging or learning anything from it. So that means they just click through it really quickly and keep guessing the answers till they get a pass mark at the end. If there's videos, they'll turn those on, go off, grab a cup of coffee or something, and come back when hopefully the video's finished and they don't have to look at it anymore. And then you get a lot of people who actually get junior staff members, secretaries, junior analysts, that kind of thing, to log in and actually do the compliance training for them. So there's some big issues there, and a lot of these are legally required courses that people need to take in order to be able to do their job. So this presents a very high risk for financial institutions in particular. So how we try to solve all these problems is providing an additional analytics layer. So we can analyze what's going on in the browser, if the person is working on something else at the same time, or if they've minimized that window, if they're clicking through it really quickly, all of that. And then what we're doing that's quite unique in this field is adding in the data that we're capturing from their webcam. So we use facial recognition first off, so we can tell if this is actually the right person that's doing it and not their secretary that's been pulled in to do this for them. And then we're layering on the micro-expression analysis on top of that, so we can tell if they're actually paying attention to any of this content. From there, what that allows us to do is to evaluate all of the different pieces of content. So say within an organization, a large organization, you could have hundreds of potential different courses that people have to do. But you're not really going to know which is more effective, aside from occasionally getting surveys, which people tend not to be all that honest on when it's coming back. So we can give you objective data as to how engaged people are with each of these courses, whether those are internally generated courses or acquired from a third-party provider. So you can start to see where those are more effective and even get granular. So say on a video, we could help you identify if people are stopping paying attention after, say, maybe 8 minutes into a 15-minute video. So from there, that can help you when you're designing your videos, try to make them more engaging, focus on more kind of micro content, or maybe split those videos into 2 separate videos that people can do in 2 sessions when they're actually taking it all in, that kind of thing.
Wow, that sounds amazing. And it sounds like there's a huge potential with, from the employee level, making sure they're covered, whether it's legally or knowing not to embezzle money, for example.
Exactly, yeah.
I read not to do it, but also for the employer. Because they're protected.
Exactly, yeah. So when we look at banks, they've paid billions, about 350 billion in fines since the global financial crisis. It's an extraordinary amount of money. If they can provide that additional layer of assurance in there, so they can verify to regulators that yes, this person did actually do their training, it was the right person, they paid attention all the way through, that can help to de-risk the institution in those kind of situations.
Excellent. It sounds very trustworthy, and I think that's what a lot of people are looking for in this. Yeah,
absolutely. And that's kind of one of the key selling points that we kind of try to drive down on, particularly the whole area of conduct risk in financial services. This is becoming a much bigger area of concern, particularly in Europe. And we're seeing a lot of major institutions actually have the role of head of conduct risk now, looking at that overall conduct within the institution to make sure it doesn't have a negative impact on the organization itself and the industry as a whole. As we know, like financial services, banking had a lot of reputational damage done to it after the last financial crisis. So making sure we don't get a repeat of that is of primary concern to everyone.
Excellent. In your, just whether it's your position or just in your line of work, I don't want to limit your scope here. But what's something that's very challenging? What do you find the most challenging part of what you do?
There's probably 2 main things that we find challenging here. As an early stage startup, I think every early stage company has this problem where getting that investment in the door and having the resources to deploy can be quite tricky initially. Certainly here in Hong Kong, more so than environments like, say, San Francisco. There are a lot more challenges here where you just don't have kind of the availability of early stage investors that you have in these other jurisdictions. Plus, we've got an incredibly high cost of living, possibly the highest cost of living in the world, which doesn't make things, it makes it a little bit more difficult. So on the flip side of that as well, which is they are interrelated, is the sales cycles that we have to deal with. We see this a lot with other companies that we have in our field in the fintech space and the regtech space, where they're selling into financial institutions. These companies don't move fast. So getting sales across the line, if you're selling into other industries, you might have maybe a 3-month sales cycle. With us, it's 12 months plus. It can take a very long time to even set up your initial meetings to get the right people in the room. And once you've had that meeting and you've done a pitch, then going back and the follow-up can take months and months as well when they have to start involving different departments right across the organization. It's a very slow process. So having the resources to survive long enough while you're going through all that sales process, so the investment and tying that into the whole sales cycle from there, those are the two biggest challenges. So you really need to make sure, and we have kind of what we've had to do at the early stage to make sure you're running as lean as possible, that whole lean startup methodology and employing that both personally and as a company.
Excellent. Oh, I know that you've had a lot of success, so there's lots of challenges, but you've had some success. Would you like to talk about any of the different awards and competitions you've been doing?
Yeah, a lot of those. So actually, I leave on Wednesday to Guangzhou, where we'll be representing Hong Kong at the Asia Pacific ICT Awards. We received the Silver Award for RegTech here in Hong Kong earlier on this year. So that's been very helpful. And that was awarded by the Hong Kong Institute of Bankers. So it gives us a much more credibility, which you definitely need as kind of a small player going up speaking to these large institutions. We also were named Best Startup in Hong Kong by Seed Stars last year, and off the back of that got to represent Hong Kong at their regional summit in Bangkok and the global summit, which is held in Lausanne in Switzerland every year in April. So great experience off that as well. It's nice to win these things and be recognized, but it's also kind of the network and the community that comes up the back of that, and all of the support you get can be incredibly helpful. Can really make a massive difference between whether you survive long enough to get there or not.
Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, good to hear. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So we talked about challenges, and those are paying off, winning awards, going to conferences, representing Hong Kong. Let's talk about the flip side. Is there anything fun, very unique? Do you have a story of anything that's crazy that's happened to you, whether it's just personally doing business or going to these different conventions, or something with technology? What stands out that says that was something that probably won't happen to a lot of other people?
Yeah, I guess kind of one of the big things of this, so we have our core product, which is around compliance training. And we ended up working on another product on the side, which is alternative data for hedge funds and asset managers. So we've done this in partnership with a US-based company called Prattle. These guys do research automation for those kind of institutions, those investment institutions. And they do natural language processing and semantic analysis. I can go and explain that a little bit. So they take central bankers' public statements, so like the Federal Reserve Chairman, when he has a statement announcing interest rate hikes, they use artificial intelligence to analyze all the text of what that person says, and then they tell you whether this is a hawkish or a dovish statement, and they use that to help predict whether the interest rates are going to be going up or going down in the future, so to help with making investment decisions through that. What we did in partnership with them is to do the microexpression analysis tied in on top of that. So we took the videos of these press conferences and announcements and performed microexpression analysis and generated interactive reports off the back of that. So from that, we got quite a bit of media attention. So got to be on Bloomberg, which was great, on TV and on radio, which is quite a coup for any early stage startup. It certainly helps single you out from a lot of the competition. That was a lot of fun, and we got some coverage by like Nikkei in Japan off the back of that as well, and since been invited to Nikkei's conference to speak over there about all of that. So that's definitely, it's something we didn't see ourselves doing, setting out. It really wasn't the core focus, but what we see through conversations we have, people are really excited by the potential for the technology that we're using, and keep coming to us with different ideas and applications for where they'd like to see it deployed in their organizations. Whether that's dealing with customers in some cases, or maybe analyzing traders while they're going about their daily work, all these kind of things. So there's a lot of potential out there for what we're doing, but again, it's the resource allocation for us right now, trying to figure out what are the applications and the use cases that we're going to be able to execute on with the resources we have on hand right now. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun, and at least we know there's a pipeline of future products that we can start building out as we go on from there.
Excellent. You kind of transitioned my final question. What's next? What's next for Emotics? What's next for you and anybody who's watching, who's interested in this technology and what you do? Who should be contacting you?
So what's next for us? So on the compliance training front, we have completed a partnership with a company called Intuition. You may have come across it. They're the largest global provider of compliance training for financial services. And I think this is going to, over the next 12 months, certainly, this is going to be a real focus for us. As we spoke already, the sales cycles can be quite difficult, and having a partnership here where we've integrated on top of the compliance training library that Intuition have, and we're going to be providing the additional layer of analytics that Emotics brings to the table as part of that Intuition offering, so we can drop that in on top of packages, licenses that institutions already have. I think that's going to be our primary focus going forward for the next year, and really looking forward to kind of driving out this partnership as much as possible. There was a second part to your question.
Like who might contact you? Like who should contact you, because it sounds like you have a lot to offer. Especially managing risks.
So yeah, people we tend to talk to are on the compliance side of things. Heads of compliance, conduct risk people, people who are in charge of compliance learning and development, compliance training, and also heads of learning and development within the institution as well. Kind of all the people that work together around the compliance training and facilitate it within the organization. Yeah, those are the kind of people we speak to.
Absolutely wonderful. Well, we're going to put Ray and Emotics information in the video description. We also welcome anyone watching. If you have questions and you'd like to know more, feel free commenting or sending me a message or contacting Ray directly. Any final words for the audience?
Well, I guess
You covered a lot. I can tell you've done these types of things before because you've been straight to the point.
I guess so, yeah.
Very concise.
Becomes second nature at this stage.
Absolutely.
Final points. I mean, yeah, time to start paying attention to compliance training, I guess.
Excellent.
Cheers, Bob.
Yep. Have a great day. Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
Absolutely.